Girl, get in here, get in here, get in here. It's season 3 with Akila and Zakia.
Get in here, y'all, and welcome back to another episode. We are continuing our conversations. And so I just wanted to thank you for joining us, first of all. But we're continuing our conversation about dating after divorce. And this whole season has taught us a lot, and we've been going through them. And so we still have some more catching y'all up on a lot of the dates that Zakia were still going on. Like, she told us about her weekend lover, right? But she was still getting us, more information and more content with these other guys in the meantime. So we're going to talk about some other men tonight. But I did want to ask you, Zakia, like, where do we stand with Weekend Lover Boy?
Weekend Lover Boy is definitely done. There's nothing. There's nothing there. We tried. It didn't work. It left a bad taste in my mouth. So my weekend lover is over.
But how? Are you going to tell us how? Why? What happened? Or was it just
last week?
It was the car thing. We just couldn't get over the passive aggressive.
It became the car thing, and then the video. Then it was making me feel like I was asking for too much, and then it was the apology tour, and then it was I'm not showing him enough attention, and I was just like, I am not the woman for you. And
so he stopped calling.
He tried to call here and there a little bit. He, asked if he could come by my place. I said, absolutely not.
No.
So yeah, no.
Okay.
There's nothing. So because of that, I was actually talking to one of my intuitives. And so she was like, hey, are you on a dating app right now? And I was like, no, I'm not. She's like, you need to get back on. And I was like, ugh. And this was right after the whole with my weekend lover. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. She's like, listen, she's like, you can be very selective. You don't have to reach back if you don't want to. You don't have to contact them. She was like, I want you on the dating apps because it keeps you open. So I said, fine. I went back on the dating apps. I only went back on the League because if you remember from the earlier episodes, I talked about the different platforms, and the League is the only one I would do. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do another 30 days because you have to pay for like a monthly subscription, and then I'm done.
Okay.
And from that extra 30 days, I did end up meeting a few people and went out on dates, because by this time I realized I think I was more open, and I was also like, I don't think I'm going to find my husband on here. So I'm just going to look and enjoy company.
Sure.
And people that, I can share a meal with or a drink with and just see what happens kind of thing. So 0 expectations. So based on that, which I will call my exit research strategy, I was like, I'm just going to say yes. I'm just going to say yes to these dates and see where they go. So I ended up going out with, we have nicknamed them because it just is easier to remember. And for anonymity, because I'm not calling anybody out on this podcast. But the first one was Mr. Otis. And the reason we call him Mr. Otis was, again, when I saw his profile, I was like, okay, he's not the typical guy that I'm attracted to, but I realized that I can't get hung up on that. So I was like, let me just give Mr. Otis a chance. He was 48, so not significantly older than me. I was like, okay, so let's see. We ended up having a phone conversation. We had some things in common, and he was like, hey, would you like to meet for lunch? And I was like, sure.
Okay.
We go to lunch. He's there when I arrive. And as soon as I walked in, and I was like, oh my God, this man looks like one of my dad's friends. So that's why I call him Mr. Otis, because I just feel like he's my dad's peer, and I saw him growing up. Because I just was like, okay, I knew immediately when I walked into the restaurant, this was going nowhere.
Wait, you got to tell me what physical features could have stood out. Was it the shoes? If they got them hard bottoms on, what is it?
Okay, so when he was sitting, so as soon as I walked in, I saw him. He stood up. He's definitely a little shorter and a little pudgier than his photos. Would lead you to believe, but it was just his skin, the way it was kind of like hanging a little bit off of his face.
Yeah.
He had on like he had on a button down, but it was like, I don't know how to describe it other than it being like a button down that your father would wear. I just, just the quality of the shirt was just different than what guys wear today.
Like a chaps button down shirt.
it just was not. And I was like, okay. But then he also had on like a little bubble vest, like the finance guy bubble vest.
Okay.
And then he had on some jeans, like a weird, like gray blue tint wash jean, socks, and loafers. And I know loafers are in, but it wasn't like the loafer that the men are wearing right now. It's the ones that my dad used to wear with the little tassels and stuff.
Oh,
and
no, not the tassels.
So I was like, again, it's not going to work. But what I will say about Mr. Otis, I sat down, I was open-minded. I had a wonderful conversation with him. I really enjoyed the conversation with him.
Yeah,
I knew it wasn't going anywhere because I ordered a burger. And what woman orders a burger on a first date with someone unless you ain't interested? Because I also was hungry because this was lunch. So I was like, right, which is how you would never be on a first date if you were really into a man, right?
Look, we just gave the guys a little tip. If a girl orders a burger on the first date,
or anything messy like tacos,
may not be into you.
Anything we gotta pick up and like eat, like chicken wings, those aren't first date foods. Anyway,
right.
So the date ends, and I know it's not going anywhere, but I appreciated him because of one, it was wonderful conversation, good company, but there was nothing there. I mean, I didn't even see like a platonic friendship happening where I'd be like, oh, I'd want to stay in contact with him because he was so cool. It just was like, no. But again, because I had opened myself up, I knew I was only doing 30 days.
Right.
Another guy that I was in conversation with back and forth on the app, I knew I had an event to go to that night in the city. And it was a family friends event. And I was like, hey, this guy, we're going to call him Nurse Betty. Okay. He's 10 years younger than me, but he's a nurse. We talked on the app for a while. He seemed cool. So I randomly was like, hey, I know your schedule. Cause that was a problem. Our schedules just were so conflicting because he was nurse. So he had like 2 days on, 2 days off. And he was also going back to school. So I was like, hey, I know I have this party to go to in the city. If you're interested, you should come with me. And he was like, I'm off that day. I would love to. Well, that happened to be the same night that I had the date with Mr. Otis. So basically I have scheduled 2 dates in one day. But again,
okay, I
got 30 days left on this app. I'm just open to have fun and live life. So yes, 2 dates in one day. That's where I went. I went from my phone being dry as hell just a few months ago, not having anybody to talk to but you. And now I got all these dates happening in one day, right?
Right.
It's an all black party. We get dressed or I get dressed and we meet there. He's little.
He's little as in short.
Yes. So I'm 5'6". I had on like 2-inch heels and we were like eye to eye. I may have been a tad bit taller than him. And I've never dated a guy
shorter than you.
Never. Right. So if I had on flats, he still would have been taller than me, but just not by much. Right.
Right.
So, but we had a wonderful time at this party. He spoke to my family friends. He was very respectful and kind and thoughtful, knew how to hold a conversation. We laughed. We played some games because it was a place that had like arcades and stuff in it. So we played games together. We went outside for a little tote. We went back inside, had a drink. We had a good time. And I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. So the party was over. And we were talking just in general. And like, he was like, hey, you want to go to another bar? And I was like, sure. We go to a bar and we're just talking. What I really appreciated about him, because he was just like, I don't understand. Why have you been single for so long? And I was kind of like explaining it. And like, I was married for so long and why I'm single. And he was like, do you think, because he was like, well, men approach you, right? And I was like, no, men do not approach me. And he was like, I'm really surprised by that. He was like, but do you appear to be open and approachable? And I was like, I do have resting bitch face. Mm-hmm. So maybe not. And he was like, well, yeah. And this man proceeded, even though technically we were on a date together, and this man is also 10 years younger than me. So you would think maybe not have the maturity level that I would expect. Went on to coach me for what I need to do to appear to be open. He was like, you can't be on your phone when you're out. And he's like, if you do go out, because I was like, oh, I go out to the restaurants by myself. He was like, well, if you do, you need to sit at a bar. He was like, don't sit at a table because nobody's going to approach you at a table. He was like, but if you're by yourself, sit at the bar because then you're approachable. And he was like, your body language says a lot. Like, are you approachable? He's like, if your face is like stoic or whatever, like no man is going to approach you. So what is it? He was like, so I feel like you're almost like socially stunted because you met and married your husband so young and were with him for like the majority of your 20s and 30s. And I was like, this kid is actually kind of right. Nurse Betty is on to something.
So here's my question, because you had never gone out with Nurse Betty before. Y'all just had, phone conversations and going back and forth through text message. But when you told me you were inviting him to your family event, right? I was like, this is interesting. Why do you think you did that?
One, because I knew it was the kind of party that would be fun.
Okay.
But also, this is also after, homeless dick pic dude also threatened me. So it was like, if I'm meeting someone new, meeting them around my people is actually kind of smart. Like, because if they are crazy, at least I'm with people that I am comfortable with, and I can say like, not feeling him, get him out of here kind of thing.
Right.
And it and I think some of it also is just discernment, because he didn't seem like a threat, and he wasn't. He was a wonderful guy. He ended up giving me a kiss at the end of the night. Like, what I will say, he may have been younger and he may have been a little smaller than I liked him, but he opened every door. He paid for every drink that we had. And like, he paid me compliments throughout the night, or he said things like, like, he was like, there's something about your eyes. And no man has ever said anything to me about my eyes. It's my lips, or it's my legs, or it's, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's never been my eyes. And he was like, there's something different about your eyes. And so what I appreciated about him was, one, he helped me remember to stay in my feminine energy, because I'm so used to going and opening the door that he would like be like, hey, I got it for you. And like, so anyway, at the end of the night, he walks me back to my car. He opens my car door, and then he comes in and he like gives me a kiss. Right. And part of me, I'm in my head, I'm like, I look like an old woman messing with this little boy. Like, we the same size. And so I'm not really enjoying the kiss, because I'm thinking in my head about all the people on the New York streets walking past us. What are they thinking of us right now? That's my problem, right? Because I'm in my head. But he closed the gap, and like, we was flush, and I was like,
your bodies were flushed against each other?
Our bodies were flushed while we were kissing. Like, he got closer, and I was like, okay, Nurse Betty. He felt like Nurse Betty might be small, but it might have been packing, okay, is what I walked away from thinking. So, but anyway, we said goodnight. And believe it or not, he and I never spoke again after that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was okay with it. Like,
I'm a firm believer, and people are placed in your life at the opportune times. And maybe the information that he gave you just about being open, is what you needed to hear from a man, right? You and I have that conversation all the time, and I'm like, smile, bitch.
Right.
And, but you needed to hear that from a man. So,
okay. And he was a 33-year-old man. So I was like, I won't count you all out. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm assuming that you're going to be immature, but he actually wasn't at all. So, do I really think I want to be with a man that much younger? No. But he he told me what I needed to hear in that moment. And I have used that moving forward since then. There was one other guy, I call him Lil Polly, because again, he was like in his mid-30s. Again, not the typical guy that I would go after, but we started talking. It was kind of funny. And then very quickly, he was just like, just to let you know, I'm polyamorous. And I was like,
oh, okay. Did you need to look it up too? Because I was about to ask you.
I sure did. I was like, what does that mean? Polyamorous. And then so when I realized it meant like he was open to having multiple relationships, an open relationship. I was like, you know what? Hey, we would never work. I was like, but platonically, I could be an excellent wingman to help you kind of pull in these people who are open, because I'm not open.
Now,
But
how old was he?
I want to say he was like it was either between 35 and 38. So I was just kind of like, these new kids, I was like, I respect that he said it right away. I respect that he said it. So he was like, just so you know, this is where I'm coming from. Unlike the men on a lot of the dating apps who were like, oh, I'm looking for a serious relationship. But honestly, they just want to get in your pants. So like, I appreciated him being forward, being like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Does this work for you? And then him being respectful when I said, no, that doesn't work for me, but I'll be your wingman, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So that was how I wrapped up my dating apps, because I am not on the dating apps. I do not plan to go back on them. And the reason I don't have to anymore is because, well, you got a groove back.
You took a turn. You took a turn. Somebody got their confidence up when she told me this next part. And I was like, okay, boo.
Okay, so I'm off the apps. I'm not going back on. But what I will say that all of the experiences between the original 30 days and then my final 30 days really did change my perspective. So just, if you don't know, I have been single for nearly 5 years, right? And when I say single, I mean single. Like, there was single as a dollar bill. Wasn't nobody calling my phone.
Right.
And so after this and going on all these dates and like just experiencing men for the first time in such a long time, I felt like I got my mojo back. Like, Stella got her groove back, right? So I was on TikTok because I love TikTok, and I was just scrolling. And if you know anything, you know how I feel about the algorithm on TikTok. It is so good, and it puts the right people in your feed. And so I happen to scroll, and I see this incredibly handsome Black man on my page. And I was like, So I click into his page. I see a couple of his photos, a couple of his videos. I think I like one or two. And then something said, slide in the DMs.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so yes, y'all. I went into this man's DMs and I said, excuse me, I know this is forward, but if you live in this area, because I had seen that he had tagged one of his photos and it was local to me. And I was like, if you live in this area, I would love to meet you for a drink.
Okay.
20 minutes later.
20? That was it?
20 minutes later, I had a absolutely tell me when kind of thing. So we talked on the app for a while, not the dating app, the TikTok app, which apparently I have turned into a dating app for me anyway. And so we talked on the app, and then the same thing, just like the dating app, we exchanged phone numbers, and then he reached out to me and we ended up talking on the phone. I think we did a FaceTime fairly quickly. And I remember being nervous for the FaceTime because I was like, Z, this is a stranger that you slid into his DMs. He now knows your number, and now you're about to like DM or FaceTime him.
Right.
FaceTime. And we stayed on the phone for nearly 2 hours, laughing, getting to know each other. And we did that for like a week before we actually met out for that drink. And then we finally met out and had dinner at one of our favorite restaurants, both of us. We both really like this restaurant. And had a wonderful, wonderful So, yes, the confidence is up. TikTok is up. I am up.
I'm going to ask the questions that the girlies want to know. Did he pay for dinner on that first night?
Yes.
And he
paid for dinner. I didn't even, before the check even hit the table, he had already picked it up.
See?
Like, it was never even a question of like Dutch or anything. And it was so funny because we were both so nervous on that date too. I had actually like texted him like, oh my God, I have butterflies. This feels so weird. I feel like a kid again. Which also makes it fun because I felt like a teenager all over again on going on this date with him.
Right.
And then he kind of like said the same thing. He was like, I feel like a schoolboy. He's like, I don't know why I'm so nervous. And in the beginning it was, and then, you know, the beginning awkwardness wore off. And then we just had like a wonderful evening, basically closed down the restaurant, had an amazing time. So yes, I'm sliding in Negroes DMs, y'all, and it's working.
The confidence. And okay, so our lives, as we always tell y'all, are like parallel lives. So as soon as she got this confidence, I was like, okay, Keela, what you gonna do? But I didn't really have to. So I reconnected with someone also. But I've known him for years. So Zakia knows him too. And so we reconnected through social media, right? Like we've got these podcasts up and we've got our, we're sharing our snippets or whatever. And he's always been very, complimentary, congratulations, just kind of being a very
giving
nice
us
supporter.
Suggestions.
Yes. And so I was
that
like,
we could talk about.
I just went into his DM and was like, hey, like, but we've talked before throughout the years, right? But this time it was like, I feel like you're coming on to me a little bit more than you have been before. So, and then we just kind of started talking and it kind of took off from there. But I'm open, and it's not like I got this confidence booster, but I also feel like from this whole dating series, this whole, season that we've been talking about dating, you kind of start to get some kind of mojo, like even if it's not, me approaching him and asking him out on a date, it's just like you just feel open to talking with people again and getting to know one another. So honey, we both have something to talk about now.
So y'all have been on a date?
We have. We went on a date and we shut it down just like you did. Yeah, he asked me out on a date. And so I said yes and went out on this date, talked for hours. I mean, hours. And it was like, because I know him, right? So we caught up. We started from high school and we went through all the years. And it was just lovely, hearing from him, hearing about his life. I feel like he probably feels like he knows about my life and my journey because of the podcast. So, it wasn't too much talking that I have to do. And y'all know I don't like to talk anyway. So he had all the right things going for him. And so, yeah, I mean, we're dating, we're talking.
I love this. I love this for you. What's funny too about this, the guy that I told you about from TikTok, I actually told him about my podcast because I typically do not tell anyone that I am talking to about the podcast. But the difference is I met him on TikTok. And so if you're on my TikTok, then you would know, you could see that I have a podcast. So like he found out and I showed him. And he has same thing, has started watching the episodes. And I'm also like, oh my God, I forgot about some of the things I talked about on season 1. I had said a lot. So any man who's trying to court me, you'll know a lot about my boundaries, what I like, what I don't like. If you really are interested in me, check in with the podcast, y'all. Because I tell y'all all my business. I give you the keys to my heart. Just are you listening hard enough and are you with the right man to fulfill them?
And that's it. I think that's also what the podcast has given us. It's given us, these men that support what we're doing, but are also listening on how to show up for us. And they're showing up the right way.
That's true. Because every man that I have been exposed to got better than the last. So I'm gonna keep on hunting until I find them, y'all. And we're gonna tell you all about it next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Girl, this was everything. Let's pick this back up next Friday.
Bye, girl.